Finally today, after all this time, we are reviewing Metallica. So Kill 'Em All came out in 1983 and the artwork is absolute classic. It shows a hammer and blood near it, and there's like a shadow of a hand either dropping the hammer or going to pick it up. I love the logo, I love everything about it. I think it's a great artwork. However, I do think that the Metal Up Your Ass, the original idea for the album name, and the original artwork is pretty funny and cool too. So there's a lot of history with Metallica, so we'll start from the beginning. So it started mostly with James Hetfield, who is the singer and main songwriter and guitarist for the band. He answered an ad in a paper from a drummer from Norway known as Lars Ulrich, who's at the time kind of a shitty drummer and nowadays is kind of a shitty drummer too. And they wanted to play some new album type of music, new wave of British heavy metal stuff like Motorhead, Sax, and stuff like that. But they wanted to play with more of a rougher edge. And then they were trying to recruit more members and they got a bass player by the name of Ron McGovney. And then they also hired a very, very famous metal person by the name of Dave Mustaine, who would go on to form Megadeth. Dave Mustaine would help write a lot of their early riffs, show James how to, play speed metal and thrash and get that cool mindset, because James was actually kind of an introverted person. And he just kind of helped Metallica get to that like hardcore lifestyle sort of thing, because he was the most crazy one out of the group. But because he was the most crazy one in the group, there was a lot of infighting and stuff, especially with him and Ron McGovney. So then Ron left the band, and then instead of staying in LA where they were, because hair metal was getting big during that time, so they were having a hard time getting big, so Metallica decided to move to San Francisco. And Metallica pretty much spearheaded the thrash metal movement and the entire Bay thrash area scene. And in San Francisco, they met an awesome bass player by the name of Cliff Burton, who was in another band. They asked him to join Metallica, and he liked their stuff, so he joined right away. So then, with this awesome lineup, Metallica started to craft a lot of hardcore thrash classics like Phantom Lord and Motorbreath, and Hit the Lights, and all these awesome songs that fused new wave of British heavy metal, technicality, musicianship, and writing, and then the speed and aggression and rawness of punk rock. But then Dave Mustaine was starting to become a very big problem with them. See, they got a contract deal with John Zazula of Megaforce Records in New York City, which Anthrax was famously signed to later on as well. So they were going to go to New York, but they were having way too much problems with Dave Mustaine, and they made the bus ride all the way to New York, but when they got there, douchily, they decided to sack Dave there. So then Metallica continued and was listening to other tapes of other bands, and they found the demo tape of a band known as Exodus, who was another Bay Area thrash group. And they really liked the guitarist known as Kirk Hammett, so they hired Kirk to join their band. And with this album, a lot of the songs and solos were written by Dave, and Kirk does change some stuff up a lot, but he also just kind of follows some of the groundwork that Dave Mustaine did lay down. And Dave Mustaine wrote about half the songs in this album too, and he wrote pretty much the best songs on it in my opinion. So with kind of a low budget, Metallica and Anthrax recorded their first albums pretty much together in New York, but I think Metallica's came out first. They wanted to call it, like I said, they wanted to call it Metal Up Your Ass, but they wouldn't do that, so they decided to call it Kill 'Em All instead, which is a pretty cool name. I think they said they wanted to call it Kill 'Em All because they wanted to kill all the people that think, it shouldn't be called Metal Up Your Ass or kill all the fucking posers in LA. Regardless of the criticisms I give to this album or any of the first four Metallica albums, these are classic metal albums that should be cherished and owned by everyone, and this one is no exception. It is maybe my least favorite out of the four, but it is a damn classic one that I've grown to appreciate so much over the years. So we have the song Hit the Lights. This has like a weird start where it's kind of this crazy build-up, and then it finally gets into it with some cool riffs and stuff, and some fast chugging and like rough punk riffage and stuff that's really great. And it starts to show off maybe one of my least favorite qualities of the album. I've grown to like the lo-fi production of it because it's very low quality production. But My least favorite thing about the album is James Hetfield's vocals. He sounds very, very off here, where later on, like Ride the Lightning, it sounds rough, but it's still on key with like the really rough music. This just kind of sounds off key here, like he's trying to sing like a good new wave of British heavy metal singer, but can't really do it. And it's kind of prevalent on this song, especially in like the chorus. But I do think it's still a cool, catchy song. It's a cool way to intro the band, but I still don't think it's one of their greatest songs. I do think it's a good, strong song, but not an amazing song. It has some great guitar work in there from both James and Kirk, and a really cool guitar solo. Then we have one of my favorite songs in the album, The Four Horsemen. And if you guys know Megadeth, you would know this song as The Mechanics, because this is one of the songs Dave Mustaine wrote. And he told them not to use any of the songs he wrote, but they decided not to go with that. And they have 4 songs in this album that Dave Mustaine pretty much wrote by himself. And then James and Lars hardly added anything to it and then got writing credits for it. It's weird, but pretty much The Four Horsemen is the song Mechanics that Dave had wrote with them. But then they decided when they kicked out Dave that they were going to change the name, change all the lyrics, make it about something else. This time it's about the Four Horsemen of the Apocalypse. They expanded the middle to make it more of an epic song. They have this slow, cool chugging part where they talk about the different horses like pestilence, war, death, and all that stuff. And then they have a cool middle melodic section with some great guitar work and a really amazing guitar solo from, Kirk. And then, of course, it returns to that classic chugging part that it would just otherwise go to Mechanic. And then the batshit solo at the end is absolutely incredible. I do definitely like the Four Horsemen a little bit more than Mechanics. There's a lot more to it. I kind of like it a little bit slower here, and I definitely like the way James sings this one a little bit more, and I like the lyrics to it. Maybe my second favorite song on the album. It's awesome. It really is. One of the absolute best Metallica songs ever. Then we have Motorbreath, which is a classic song. It's one of the maybe weaker songs in the album. It's so catchy and cool. It totally sounds very punk. I actually really love the way James sings on this song. It's very catchy and very melodic. I really like that, especially the chorus. It kind of sounds rough a little bit, but I think it works with the music. The guitar work on there is great. It has this awesome, fun-loving, kick-ass metal vibe to it, but it feels a little not as Metallica, I guess you could say. Like, it's a little too much of the punk and not enough of the metal. Now we have another Dave Mustaine song, Jump in the Fire. This one's really cool. It's more of a mid-tempo song with a really cool groove to it and a really, really intricate riff that I really enjoy. I like the way James sings on it, but he kind of sounds pitchy in some places. But other than that, like, the guitar work is absolutely incredible. That's attributed to Dave Mustaine's total thrash, but also this song kind of adds more of a diversity to the album where it's not just all chugging fast stuff. This one's more of like a mid-tempo, cool song. And they always have a real cool, slower, more mid-tempo song on all their albums. And this one is the one for Kill 'Em All. It was also a single. Then we have the instrumental Anesthesia Pulling Teeth, which was only written by Cliff Burton. It's mostly just a bass solo, and then later in the song you can hear the drums come in. The bass solo is extremely intricate and almost sounds like a guitar. There's a lot of arpeggioing and stuff. It's really, really cool. And I think he wrote this in the band that he was in before he joined Metallica. I'm not sure though. I just know that he did a lot of bass solos and that's why they wanted to get him in the band. However, it is cool, but it's not one of my favorite songs of the album. In fact, I skip it a lot. It's just kind of okay as a song to me, but it's just cool as a bass solo, I guess. I would have much rather have heard this on one of the songs, like have a really cool riff and then he would just start playing this awesome bass solo over it, like make the Four Horsemen even longer, or like put this at the end of Phantom Lord and it would have been awesome. Now we have Whiplash, which is another single. And this one was a Hetfield and Ulrich song, and this one, what's weird is it used to be one of my least favorite songs in the album, but now it's one of my absolute favorites. This song is thrash all the way through. The intro is really weird, and it goes into this kind of like awkward rhythm where you hear like the drums and bass doing this like weird groove sort of thing, and then we finally get into that really cool chugging riff. The lyrics on this one are absolutely awesome. It's just telling you who Metallica are. They're here to kick ass, take names. And there's like a part in there where they say, "We are Metallica." Of course, they're thrashing all around, acting like a maniac. Whiplash. One of the best songs off the album, and it's just one of their absolute classics. Then we have Phantom Lord, one of my favorite songs of the album. It kind of starts with a weird bass swell sort of sound, and then we get this like slow, epic intro riff, and then it kicks right into this incredible riff. It just shows all these quick changes and stuff that Dave Mustaine was known for writing. But the Kirk Hammett soloing and all the guitar work is amazing by James Hetfield and Kirk. So even though it was a Dave Mustaine composition, they really pulled it off well. And I love the frantic way that James sings the lyrics of the song in the verse. And the riff in that verse is really catchy and awesome. And the chorus is just so crazy and frantic. He's like hitting all these really insane notes. And then I love the way he really deeply growls, "For the Phantom Lord." Then we have maybe my favorite song off the album. There's so many of them with this one. No Remorse is like an awesome deep cut. This one has this incredibly catchy riff to it. And then it kind of goes into this really weird part where it's like a pre-chorus that's this weird sort of galloping riff. But then when you get to that chorus, that's one of my absolute favorite Metallica riffs. I love the lyrics to it. No remorse, no repent, couldn't care what he meant. This song is, for me, the definition of a killer filler track. Then we have Seek and Destroy, which, interestingly enough, this is the first song I heard off the album. I was just kind of listening to some Metallica songs. I heard this one, and it never did anything for me. I never knew it was a hit. I never knew it was like a big song for them. I'm sorry. I know it's like an awesome song. To me, it's like okay. I skip it a lot, to be honest with you. To me, it's a filler in my opinion, but I don't get why they didn't have this as a single, considering it's such a big hit for them. But yeah, it does nothing for me. I do think the lyrics are kind of cool. It's like the perfect song for hunting down terrorists in the Middle East. You know, seek and destroy, blow them up and shit. And it just repeats the chorus way too much. But regardless, it is a good song. It just does nothing for me. Then we have Metal Mulisha, another Mustaine song, and it's the last original composition on the album. Metal Mulisha is an awesome song title. The riffs to it are absolutely frantic and insane, and like a lot of Metallica albums, they'll end their album with the fastest song, and this one is it. The definition of speed metal, Metal fucking Mulisha. The riffs to it are really catchy, and I love them. They're so fucking crazy. They make you want to just bash your head on a table. But the thing is that James' vocals are really horrendous on this one. So it's kind of like, I love it, but it's kind of hard to get through. But the Dave Mustaine writing on here is very, very cool, and the guitar playing, the soloing is fucking awesome, especially at the end of it. It is a really great way to end this thrasher piece. But then we do have two bonus tracks, I guess. I think they were on some of the vinyl releases back in the day. They're two covers. One of them is Am I Evil by the band Diamond Head, which is a classic cover. I think Metallica made it even more famous, and their cover of it is absolutely amazing. I think if you're going to get a version of this album, you have to get the one with the bonus track covers. They're just so good. They make it their own song. And I think it's a lot better with a more thrashy sound and a lot more rough vocals. And then we have the song Blitzkrieg, which is also really awesome. It's another like new wave of British heavy metal song by the band Blitzkrieg, and they deliver in such an awesome thrashy way. Another amazing song for this album. So that's Kill 'Em All. It's a very, very classic, awesome album, but we still have more epic albums to get to.